Let's get something out of the way right now. This book is not here to make you feel good. It's not here to pat you on the back, tell you everything will be okay, or coddle you with soft, fluffy, positive thinking nonsense. This book is a wake-up call, a punch in the gut if that's what you need. It's about real work, raw hustle, and the relentless mindset required to build a life you can actually be proud of. Because here's the truth, most people won't tell you, no one is coming to save you. No mentor, no motivational quote, no YouTube video, no miracle morning routine. Nothing will work unless you do. You want change? Get up. You want results? Work harder. You want a better life? Earn it. And that's exactly what this book is about. We live in a world that glamorizes overnight success and filters struggle out of the picture. People want the glory without the grind. They crave the applause but aren't willing to sweat in the silence. They scroll past 10,000 hours of effort just to double-tap the highlight reel. But life doesn't care about your feelings. It rewards execution, discipline, consistency. The people who win are the ones who showed up on the days they didn't feel like it. They pushed when others paused. They trained when others slept. They made progress while others made excuses. So if you're tired of your own excuses, this book is for you. There's a toxic narrative floating around right now that says hard work is outdated, that grinding is hustle culture, and that ambition is somehow selfish. Let me be clear, working yourself to the bone for approval is foolish. But working relentlessly towards something meaningful, that's freedom. Hard work is not the enemy. It's the foundation. It's how you build confidence, skill, resilience, and most importantly, momentum. You don't get stronger by avoiding resistance. You grow by leaning into it. This book is about reminding you that you have more in you, more energy, more discipline, more potential. It's about shutting out the noise, taking control, and going to war with your own weakness until your habits reflect the life you say you want. Because you don't rise to the level of your goals, you fall to the level of your systems, and most people have trash systems. They set massive goals, but can't even conquer the snooze button. They talk big, but they move small. They confuse wanting success with working for it. Let me ask you something. How many times have you said, "I'll start Monday"? How many plans have you written but never executed? How many nights have you stayed up dreaming, only to wake up and do nothing? You don't need another plan. You need pressure. You need fire. You need accountability. You need to get up and work harder. This isn't a how-to manual filled with checklists and morning affirmations. There are enough of those out there. This book is a mindset weapon. It's the verbal slap you sometimes need when you're spiraling into laziness, self-pity, or doubt. Each chapter is a direct hit, short, focused, and raw. We'll talk about why motivation is a scam and discipline is the real MVP. We'll look at how your comfort zone is silently destroying your potential and why mastering the boring stuff is what separates winners from quitters. We'll talk about how to train your mind like you train your body, and why no one claps for you now, and why that's actually a good thing. If you're easily offended, you might hate it. But if you're ready to get honest with yourself and start operating like the version of you that wins, you're in the right place. This book is for the grinders, the doers, the ones who feel that fire but haven't quite turned it into a blaze yet. It's for the underdogs, the overlooked, the tired but not done types who know deep down they were built for more. Let's be real for a second. Your current life is a reflection of your standards. Everything you tolerate, everything you allow, everything you've built or neglected, it's on you. That's not an insult. That's power. Because if you built this, you can rebuild it. This book isn't about being perfect. It's about being relentless. Progress over perfection, effort over emotion, action over excuses. You're not always going to feel like it. That doesn't matter. What matters is that you show up anyway. What matters is that you keep your word to yourself. What matters is that you don't quit when things get hard, because they will. You don't become unstoppable by coasting. You become unstoppable by choosing growth over comfort every single day, by rising after every fall, by getting back to work with a chip on your shoulder and a reason in your chest. This is not a feel-good book. It's a feel-something book. It's designed to light that internal fire you've been smothering with excuses, fear, and distractions. It's a call to arms for anyone sick of sitting on the sidelines of their own life. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to start. The first step is deciding that from this moment forward you're done waiting. You're done coasting. You're done playing small. So stand up. Lock in. Block out the noise. Do the work. And don't stop until your life reflects the beast you know you really are. Now turn the page. It's time. Get up and work harder. You've been sleeping on yourself, not in the literal sense, though maybe you're hitting snooze more than you should, but in the mental, emotional, and spiritual sense. You've been drifting through days, reacting instead of creating, surviving instead of building. You wake up, check your phone, scroll through other people's lives, get pulled into the noise, and before you know it, another day's gone. Another day of potential wasted. Another day where you could have shown up differently but didn't. That's not living. That's existing. And you weren't built just to exist. You were built to evolve. But none of that starts until you wake up to your own reality. Until you stop pretending you're trying and start admitting you've been comfortable. Until you stop blaming the job, the partner, the economy, the childhood, the algorithm, whatever it is you keep using as a shield from the truth. Because the truth is, you are exactly where your decisions have placed you, and you will remain where you are, until your decisions change. That's hard to accept, I know. Most people will never say it out loud, and even fewer are willing to look in the mirror and take full responsibility. It's easier to point fingers, to find villains in the story of your life, to say I can't because, instead of I haven't because I won't. But that's exactly why most people stay stuck. It's not their environment, it's their mentality. You can't rise in life if you keep carrying a mindset that was built for survival. If your thoughts are wired for comfort, your actions will always follow suit. So let's take a moment and do something uncomfortable. Get honest. Not surface level honest, brutally honest. Look at your habits, your patterns, your distractions, your addictions, your excuses, your wasted time. Look at all the places you let yourself off the hook, all the times you knew better, but didn't do better. Be real about it. Not to shame yourself, but to wake up. Because as long as you're lying to yourself, you're sleepwalking through life. You can't change what you won't confront. You say you want more, but are you moving like someone who's ready for more? Are your actions matching your ambition? Or are you just talking about it, watching others live it, while you procrastinate behind research and planning, and waiting for the right time? The right time is now. It always has been. You don't need another motivational video or another book to convince you to start. You already know what needs to happen. The problem isn't clarity. The problem is execution. Your current life is not a punishment. It's a result. A reflection of what you've tolerated, accepted, and allowed. And the only way it changes is if you change. No one is coming to force you to stop scrolling. No one is coming to make you get up early, to train, to study, to build, to stay disciplined. That's on you. And it's supposed to be. Because the power has always been in your hands. You just haven't fully realized it yet. But waking up to your reality also means waking up to your power. You don't have to stay stuck. You don't have to keep repeating the same cycles. You don't have to be the same person you were yesterday. Growth is a choice, and you can choose it at any moment. You can decide to start. You can decide to act differently, think differently, move differently. You can take control of your narrative instead of being a victim in it. It won't be easy, it won't be fast, but it will be real, and it will be yours. Start by owning your mornings. The way you begin your day sets the tone for everything else. Most people wake up and instantly give their energy to distraction, to notifications, messages, other people's opinions. They wake up already behind. But not you, not anymore. From now on, your mornings are yours. They're sacred. They're the battleground where discipline is forged. Get up earlier. Move your body. Plan your day. Feed your mind. Breathe. Show the universe you're serious before the world even opens its eyes. Then own your time. Time is your most valuable currency, and you've been spending it like it's endless. It's not. Every hour wasted is an opportunity burned. You say you don't have time. Track your last 48 hours and watch the lies unravel. You have time. You're just not using it like your life depends on it, because it does. You're binging shows while your goals collect dust. You're numbing yourself with comfort while your potential screams in silence. That has to stop. Waking up to your reality also means auditing your circle. Who you surround yourself with matters. If you're always around people who normalize mediocrity, you'll never feel the pressure to rise. If you're constantly absorbing negativity, gossip and low-energy talk, don't be surprised when your life mirrors that same energy. You need people who challenge you, who push you, who call you out when you slip, not just people who make you feel good. Comfort is killing your growth, and sometimes that comfort comes in the form of familiar faces who hold you back. And let's not forget your self-talk. What you say to yourself on repeat becomes your belief system. Are you constantly criticizing, doubting, diminishing yourself? Are you telling yourself you're too late, too tired, too unprepared? That voice in your head, it can be your prison, or it can be your power. You have to take control of it. You have to rewire it with intention. You have to speak like someone who's building something, not someone who's already given up. This isn't about being perfect. You will slip. You will have lazy days. You will mess up. That's not failure. That's reality. But you can't use those slips as permission to stop. One bad day doesn't cancel your momentum. One weak moment doesn't erase your drive. Get back up. Keep going. Adjust. Progress isn't linear. It's a fight. Some days you'll fly. Other days you'll crawl. But forward is forward. You don't need to have everything figured out. You just need to stop pretending you're doing your best when deep down you know you're capable of more. You've got fire in you. You've just buried it under layers of distraction, fear, and routine. It's time to dig it out. It's time to reconnect with that version of you that wants more, deserves more, and is ready to work for it. Wake up, not tomorrow, not next week. Now, this moment, this page. This is the start. No more autopilot. No more coasting. No more sleepwalking through your potential. From this moment on, you move with purpose. You walk with intent. You work like your life depends on it, because it does. And the moment you do that, your reality starts to change. No one is coming to save you. Read that again. Say it out loud if you have to. Let it sink in, not as something depressing, but as something freeing, because the moment you accept it, you take your power back. You stop waiting. You stop relying. You stop depending on someone or something else to come fix your life. This is your responsibility, all of it. The good, the bad, the messy,
the unfinished, yours. Most people spend years stuck in the same place, not because they aren't capable, but because deep down they're hoping someone will come along and pull them out. A mentor, a relationship, a friend, a sign, a second chance, a lucky break, anything that gives them permission to finally move. So they wait. They wait for the stars to align, for circumstances to change, for someone to knock on their door and hand them the life they keep daydreaming about. But guess what? That moment doesn't come, and if it does, it usually doesn't look anything like what you imagined. This is where people get bitter, angry, resentful. They think life is unfair. They start blaming the world, blaming others, blaming systems, blaming timing. But the truth is, no one owes you anything. Not success, not happiness, not clarity, not love, not peace. All of it has to be built, earned, created. And if you're not building it, you're just waiting for someone else to build it for you, which means you're surrendering your control. You are the hero and the villain in your story. You are the obstacle and the answer. You're the one who broke it, and you're the one who's going to fix it. That's not meant to be harsh. That's meant to be empowering, because if the problem is you, then the solution is also you. You're not powerless. You're not stuck. You're just not doing the work consistently enough to change your reality. Maybe no one told you this growing up. Maybe you were raised on comfort and safety, and the belief that things should be fair, and everyone gets a turn. That's not how it works. Life isn't fair, and it doesn't wait. It moves fast, and if you don't move with it, it will leave you behind. It doesn't care about your feelings. It doesn't slow down because you're tired. It rewards the people who show up, who push, who take action, even when everything in them says stop. And here's the kicker, even the people who could help you won't. Not because they're cruel, not because they don't care, but because they're busy fighting their own battles. Everyone is. No one's going to stop their own climb just to drag you up the mountain. If they offer help, it's a blessing. But if you're counting on that help to survive, you're not climbing, you're clinging. That's not strength. That's dependency disguised as patience. You want something, get it. You want change, make it. You want a new chapter, write it. And stop romanticizing the idea that someone will hand you the life you've been too afraid to chase. It doesn't happen like that. No one is knocking on your door with a golden opportunity. No one is coming to tell you to get serious. No one is going to push you out of bed and drag you to the gym. No one is going to force you to turn off Netflix and focus. No one is going to chase your dreams for you.
The only person responsible for turning your life around is you. And that's the best news ever, because it means you don't have to wait. You don't have to ask. You don't have to be chosen. You just have to decide. Decide that you're done being passive. Decide that you're done relying on luck. Decide that you're done hoping someone else sees your value before you prove it to yourself. From this moment on, you stop waiting for a lifeline. You become the lifeline. You become the solution. You become the force that moves, builds, leads, transforms. Because that's what strong people do. They stop crying about what they didn't get, and they start creating what they still can. This doesn't mean you don't need people. We all need connection, support, love. But there's a difference between needing help and needing rescuing. Help is something you ask for from a position of power, a place where you're already moving forward and just need a boost. Rescuing is something you wait for when you've given up control, and you don't get stronger by being rescued. You get stronger by rising. You'll have hard days. Days where it feels like the weight of everything is too heavy. Days where you're exhausted, unmotivated, maybe even lost. But that's the moment you lean on your discipline. That's the moment you remember what this chapter is about. No one is coming. And that's why you keep going. You are capable. You are ready. And you've wasted enough time waiting for something or someone to prove it to you. The proof is in the work, in the grind, in the decision to keep showing up, even when it's hard, even when it's quiet, even when no one's watching. This is your permission slip to stop waiting. This is your green light. This is your sign. Get up. Take the wheel. Write your story. Be your own rescue. Excuses are the enemy, not your job, not your background, not your lack of time or resources or connections, just the excuses you keep feeding yourself every time the work gets uncomfortable. That's what's holding you back. It's not life being unfair. It's not bad luck. It's not that you're too late or too old or too behind. It's that every time you hit resistance, you retreat into justification. You come up with a reason to pause, to postpone, to quit. And every time you do that, you reinforce weakness. Excuses feel good in the moment. They're soothing. They make failure feel less painful. They let you off the hook. They protect your ego when you don't want to admit you didn't follow through. But make no mistake, excuses are not your friends. They're lies dressed up as logic. They're the silent killers of progress. They're the little voice that whispers, "It's okay to stop," when it's absolutely not okay. Every excuse you allow is another vote for the version of you that stays exactly where you are. There's always going to be something. Always. Life will never be perfectly lined up for you to start chasing greatness. You'll always have responsibilities, stress, people pulling on your time. You'll always be tired some days. You'll always have doubts. But the people who win in this world aren't the ones who wait until all the lights turn green. They're the ones who drive through the yellow. They're the ones who show up with what they've got, where they are, and find a way. Not a reason to stop. You have to stop letting your brain negotiate with your goals. That mental back and forth where you try to convince yourself that skipping today is fine, that sleeping in just this once won't matter, that you'll double up tomorrow. That's the trap. You think it's no big deal. You think it's just a small delay. But what you're actually doing is building a habit of softness. You're programming yourself to fold under pressure. You're training your mind to believe it doesn't have to be all in. And that's exactly why you keep starting over. Discipline is doing it even when the feeling is gone. Especially when the feeling is gone. Excuses rely on emotion. Discipline relies on decision. One of them gets you results. The other just keeps you busy making excuses for why those results never came. You already know this. Deep down you feel it. That tension inside you isn't confusion. It's misalignment. It's the clash between what you say you want and how you actually move. You say you want change, but your excuses keep pulling you back to the same habits, the same patterns, the same comfort zone. You can't outdream your discipline. You can't outplan your excuses. The life you want doesn't care about your reasons. It only responds to your work. Start paying attention to the excuses you lean on the most. I don't have time. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. It's not the right moment. Write them down. Expose them. Because the moment you name them, you take their power away. Excuses thrive in the dark. They grow when you don't challenge them. But once you shine a light on them, you start to see how weak they really are. Everyone has a reason to quit. Everyone, even the most successful people you admire, have full lives, tough days, setbacks, problems. The difference is, They don't let those reasons turn into rules. They don't give their excuses a seat at the table. They show up anyway. Tired. They show up. Busy. They show up. Scared. Still show up. And because they do, they win. That's the level of personal responsibility you need if you're serious about building something real. No more blaming. No more waiting for perfect conditions. You either want this or you don't. You're either in or you're not. Half effort gets half results, and half results lead to full-on disappointment. Every time you silence an excuse and take action anyway, you build self-respect. You start to trust yourself. You start to see yourself as someone who follows through. That belief becomes power, and that power compounds. Suddenly you're not the person who talks about change. You're the one who becomes it. And here's the thing. No one's watching most of the time. No one sees you wake up early. No one sees you grinding when you're tired. No one sees the nights you choose work over comfort. But that's exactly why it matters. Because when you can execute without applause, you know it's real. You're not doing it for show. You're doing it for growth. Excuses will always be there, waiting for a weak moment, waiting for a crack in your discipline. Don't give them space. Don't entertain them. Get used to feeling uncomfortable. Get used to doing it anyway. That's where your power lives, in the moments where you should quit, but you don't. If you really want change, there's no room for excuses. Not one. Not a single one. Because the second you accept even one, you open the door for all the rest. You give your mind an escape route. And if you leave an exit, you'll take it. So burn the bridge. Close the back door. Kill the excuses. Because the life you want is waiting, but only for the version of you who shows up, no matter what. Discipline over motivation. That's the shift. That's the difference between those who build and those who wish. Between those who talk and those who do. Motivation is a spark, but discipline is the firewood. You can't build a life on fleeting feelings. Motivation comes and goes. It's unreliable. It's moody. It's here one moment, gone the next. But discipline stays. Discipline shows up when motivation is nowhere to be found. Discipline is the voice that says go when everything else in you says not today. Too many people are addicted to motivation. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel ready. They wait to feel inspired. They wait for a mood to strike before they take action. But the truth is, if you only work when you feel like it, you'll never build anything that lasts. Progress doesn't care about your mood. Growth doesn't wait for the perfect emotional state. You either move, or you don't. You either execute, or you sit in the same place another day, another week, another year, hoping for a feeling to save you. This is where most people lose. They think discipline is something you're born with, that some people just have it, and others don't. That's not true. Discipline is trained. It's a skill. It's a decision you make every single day, every single moment, to choose long-term gain over short-term comfort. It's a commitment to yourself, that what you want most matters more than what you want right now. It's self-respect in action. And the best part, discipline doesn't require hype. You don't need music, quotes, energy drinks, or a motivational video to be disciplined. You just need a reason, a purpose, a vision that's bigger than your excuses. When you know what you're building, when you're clear on what's at stake, the decision becomes simple. Do the work. No emotion required, just effort. There will be days you feel like quitting, days when the progress is slow, days when your results don't match your effort, days when no one notices, no one claps, no one cares. But that's exactly where discipline proves its value. Discipline keeps you going in silence. Discipline gets you up early when your body wants sleep.
Discipline makes you say no to the easy route, to distractions, to comfort. Discipline is how you separate yourself from the crowd. You have to start holding yourself to a higher standard. Stop relying on feelings and start building habits. Habits don't need motivation. They just need consistency. Create a system that makes it easier to win. Set your environment up to support your goals. Schedule your priorities. Cut the noise. Do the thing even when it's boring, especially when it's boring, because that's where the real work happens. Mastering the mundane is where discipline lives. The people you admire, the ones who seem locked in, unshakable, relentless, they aren't superhuman, they're just consistent. They don't wait to feel right. They move regardless, and that movement becomes momentum. Momentum becomes identity, and identity shapes destiny. You don't wake up disciplined. You become disciplined by choosing discipline over and over until it becomes who you are. Motivation can spark a start, but discipline carries the weight. Discipline gets you through the middle, the unsexy, hard, lonely middle where most people quit. And if you can master the middle, you'll separate yourself from 90% of the population. Because most people can start. Starting is easy, but finishing takes grit. Finishing takes discipline. Every time you honor your commitment, even when it's hard, you build power. You teach your mind that you can be trusted. You train your brain to listen to your decisions, not your emotions. And that internal trust, that quiet confidence, becomes the foundation of everything. You become the kind of person who follows through. And that's rare. The world is full of people who start strong and disappear. Full of people who talk big but fold under pressure. Full of people who can post about the grind, but can't live it, but can't live it when no one's watching. Don't be one of them. Be the one of them. Be the one who shows up anyway. Be the one who doesn't need applause. Be the one who's consistent in chaos, calm in storms, locked in when everyone else is looking for shortcuts. You want to feel proud of yourself. Keep promises to yourself. That's discipline. You want to build something that lasts. Stop relying on feelings and build structure. Stop relying on feelings and build structure. That's discipline. You want to win. Stop chasing comfort and chase commitment. That's discipline. It's not sexy. It's not always fun, but it works. It always works. So the next time you don't feel like it, do it anyway. The next time your mind tries to sell you comfort, choose growth. The next time you hear that inner voice saying just skip today, remind yourself who you're becoming. Remind yourself that every small act of discipline is stacking bricks. Bricks that build the foundation of a life worth living. You don't need more motivation. You need more motivation. You need more discipline. Discipline is the bridge between who you are and who you want to be. Cross it every day, step by step, without waiting, without asking for permission, without needing to feel good. Because the truth is, the disciplined win every time. Your comfort zone is a trap. It looks harmless, it's a trap. It looks harmless. It feels safe. It gives the illusion of peace, of control, of security. But underneath that calm surface, it's quietly killing your growth. It's numbing your hunger. It's softening your edge. The comfort zone is where dreams go to fade, not in a dramatic explosion, but in a quiet, invisible drift. You stop reaching. You stop pushing. You stop challenging yourself. And without realizing it, you start settling. Comfort whispers to you. It says you've done enough. It says take it easy. You deserve it. It says you can always try again tomorrow. And before you know it, tomorrow turns into next week. Next week turns into next year. And suddenly the goals you once burned for are just nice ideas you talk about, not things you live for. Comfort doesn't scream. It doesn't alarm you. That's why it's dangerous. Because it feels so normal to sit in it, so normal to accept it, so normal to let time pass without urgency. But you can't grow and stay comfortable at the same time. Growth hurts. It stretches you. It demands that you step into situations where you're unqualified, uncertain, uncomfortable. That's how strength is built. That's how resilience is formed. You don't become better by repeating what you already know. You become better by stepping decision at a time, one bold move at a time. The comfort zone rewards short-term ease and long-term regret. The growth zone is the opposite. It's hard now, but it pays you back forever. The moment you understand that, everything changes. You stop chasing comfort and start chasing discomfort on purpose. You start putting yourself in situations that force you to level up. You stop avoiding the hard stuff and begin leaning into it, because you know that's where the transformation lives. Look around at your life. What areas feel stale, repetitive, too easy? That's your clue. That's the space where you've stopped growing. Maybe it's your job. Maybe it's your routine. Maybe it's your circle. Maybe it's your mindset. If everything feels predictable, then you're no longer testing your limits. You're just maintaining. And you weren't built for maintenance. You were built for movement. You were built for the climb. Some people stay in their comfort zone their entire lives. They never take risks. They never leap. They never bet on themselves. They choose what's familiar over what's possible. And even if their life looks okay on the outside, they feel the weight of their own potential slowly fading. They feel that ache, that itch, that restlessness. But instead of acting on it, they quiet it. They suppress it. They distract it. And eventually, it goes silent. But not you. Not anymore. If you're reading this, something inside you is already rejecting that safe, stagnant version of yourself. Something in you knows that your next level won't be found where you are now. You've got to go where it's uncomfortable, where it's uncertain, where you might fail. That's where the edge is. That's where the real version of you lives. Start doing things scary. Say yes when everything in you wants to say no because it's easier. Take on challenges you don't feel fully ready for. Speak up, move, change environments if you have to. Put yourself in rooms where you're not the smartest, not the most skilled. That's how you grow. Iron sharpens iron. Pressure shapes diamonds. You won't evolve by staying warm and cozy. You won't evolve by staying warm and cozy. You evolve by stepping into the cold and figuring out how to survive it. You'll feel resistance. Of course you will. The brain loves comfort. It's wired for safety, for patterns, for the known. So when you start stepping out, your mind will panic a little. It'll try to pull you back. That's not a sign to stop. That's a sign you're doing it right. Discomfort is the signal of progress. Lean into it. You've got to learn to love the stretch. Learn to love the awkward phase. Learn to love being a beginner again. Because the faster you get comfortable with being uncomfortable, the faster you grow. Confidence doesn't come from avoiding fear. It comes from walking through it, over and over, until it's no longer a ball, etched in memory. And here's the truth. Everything you want is outside the comfort zone. The strength, the money, the respect, the clarity, the growth, the relationships, the reasons, the freedom. It's all waiting for you on the other side of discomfort. But you'll never get there if you keep choosing easy. You'll never build anything. If you keep choosing easy, you'll never build anything real. If you keep sitting in what's familiar. So move, shake things up, start doing what's safe, start doing what's sexy. Let your goals necessary. Let your goals be louder than your fear. Let your hunger speak louder than your hesitation. Stop asking what if it goes wrong, and start asking what's where it goes right. Because you'll never know until you move. And staying where you are is a guarantee that nothing will change. You have more in you, but you won't find it in the same routine, in the same excuses, in the same comfort you've always chosen. You'll find it when you break the pattern, when you stop playing it safe. You'll find it when you break the pattern, when you stop playing it safe. When you decide that comfort is no longer your goal growth. And from this moment forward, that's your standard. No more hiding in the easy. No more shrinking to fit in. No more choosing peace over power. No more choosing peace over power. You were built to stretch. You were built to stretch. You were built to rise. So lean into the hard. Embrace the awkward. Chase the uncomfortable. That's where you become unstoppable. The power of early mornings is real. Not because there's anything magical about the sunrise, but because of what it represents. Waking up early is a statement. It's proof that you're in for set. It's the first battle of the day. And when you win, you start your day with momentum. Most people lose that battle. They hit snooze. They bargain with the alarm clock. They start their day with the alarm clock. They start their day reacting instead of doing. And that's the difference. The early hours are a gift, but only if you use them. When the world is still quiet, your mind is clear. There are fewer distractions, fewer demands, fewer excuses. There are fewer distractions, fewer demands, fewer excuses. You can think, you can train, you can plan, you can move with intention. It's not a
about waiting your value to step on the battle. It's about waiting your value to get ahead, to build something before the world starts pulling on you, before texting emails and tasks start to hijack your focus.
Most people wake up just in time to survive the day. They don't own their mornings, they escape them. They roll out of bed with just enough time to get dressed, grab a bite, and rush into chaos. And they wonder why they feel behind. They wonder why their life feels like a loop. It's because they start every day in reaction mode. And you can't create something powerful if you're always reacting. When you wake up early on purpose, everything shifts. You're no longer rushing. You're setting the tone. You're choosing discipline over comfort, direction over drifting. And the confidence that comes from that one decision bleeds into everything else you do. You walk different when you've already won the first hour of the day. You think clearer. You move sharper. You carry control into your work, your relationships, your goals. It's not easy at first. Your body will fight it. Your mind will resist. You'll tell yourself you need more sleep, that you'll start tomorrow, that you're not a morning person. But all that is just conditioning. It's just comfort talking. The truth is, you can become anything you consistently train yourself to be. You can become someone who owns their mornings, who sets the tone, who doesn't wait for the day to dictate their pace. But it starts with one decision. Get up. You don't need to overhaul your life overnight. Start simple. Wake up 30 minutes earlier. Use that time for yourself. No scrolling. No distractions. Just you and your goals. Move your body. Reflect. Breathe. Plan your attack. Do the hard thing first. Watch what happens when you stack that win every morning. It changes you. It makes you harder to shake. It gives you quiet confidence because you know you're putting in work while most people are still sleeping on themselves. The early hours are your advantage. They're your space to grow. While the world is off guard, you're sharpening your edge. That's how winners think. That's how they operate. They do the work when no one's watching. They train before the lights come on. They move when it's inconvenient, because that's when the work counts the most. Anyone can work hard at noon. It takes a different kind of person to work hard before the sun shows up. You start to realize how much time you were wasting, how much of your day you were spending recovering from poor starts, how much more energy you have when you begin with clarity, not chaos. And once you feel that shift, once you taste that peace, you won't want to go back. You won't want to live in reaction mode anymore. Because now you know what it feels like to be in control. It's not about being extreme. It's about being intentional. You wake up early to build, to think, to move with purpose. Even on days when there's nothing urgent, you still show up. Because it's not about the urgency. It's about the identity. You're not just someone who wakes up early. You're someone who honors their time, who chooses discipline when no one is watching, who gets one step ahead before anyone else even gets started. There will be days when it's hard, days when it feels like the bed is winning, days when motivation is nowhere to be found. That's okay. That's when discipline speaks louder. That's when you remember what you're doing this for. You're not waking up early just to be busy. You're doing it to build something, to become someone. And becoming that person takes sacrifice. So start setting your alarm with purpose. Start owning your mornings instead of escaping them. You don't have to wake up at 4 a.m. to be great. But you do have to stop giving your first hour away to comfort and distraction. Protect it. Use it. Multiply it. The most valuable hours of your life are the ones when no one else is demanding your attention. Use them like they matter, because they do. There's power in the quiet. Power in the early. Power in the decision to rise before you're required to make that decision daily. Build that identity brick by brick. You're not just getting up, you're getting ahead. Master the mundane. That's the real game. Everyone wants the highlight reel, the big moment, the breakthrough. But very few are willing to fall in love with the boring, repetitive, unglamorous work that success is built on. And that's why most people don't make it. Not because they're not talented or capable, but because they get bored. They quit too soon. They confuse repetition with failure. They think if it's not exciting, it's not working. That's the trap. The truth is, greatness lives in the mundane. It's in the early mornings when no one's watching. It's in the daily practice when there's no applause. It's in the small invisible wins that stack up over time. Champions aren't made on game day. They're made in the hours nobody sees. In the gym, in the dark, in the quiet grind. They master the same moves 1,000 times. They don't chase variety. They chase precision. They understand that the basics, done relentlessly, lead to extraordinary outcomes. But most people don't want that. They want shortcuts, hacks, new shiny tactics. They want to skip the reps and still get the reward. That mindset kills potential, because success isn't about excitement, it's about execution. Can you do what needs to be done even when it's boring? Can you show up when there's no rush of motivation? Can you keep your standards high when no one is watching? That's what separates the committed from the curious. Mastering the mundane means showing up, regardless of how you feel. It means keeping your routine tight, your habits sharp, your time protected. It's not glamorous. It won't get you likes or attention, but it will get you results. It will build a version of you that doesn't rely on moods or inspiration to move. It builds toughness. It builds grit. And eventually, it builds the life you say you want. Look at anyone who's built something real, an athlete, an artist, a business owner, a leader. Ask them how they did it. They'll tell you the same thing: I did the reps. I showed up every day. I didn't skip steps. I didn't glamorize the grind. I respected it. That's what mastery is. Repeating the simple things until they're second nature. Until you can't do them wrong. Until the gap between intention and execution disappears. There's no cheat code for this. No fast pass. You don't get to skip the work and still win. You don't get to put in effort when it's fun and expect elite results. If you want to separate yourself from the average, master the things they avoid. Master consistency. Master focus. Master patience. Master the boring stuff, because the boring stuff is the foundation. It's the reps in the gym. It's the hours reading. It's the writing, the stretching, the budgeting, the planning. It's the silence, the discipline, the grind that no one claps for. And yet, that's where transformation happens. That's where confidence is built. Not in big moments, but in daily execution. You'll be tempted to chase excitement. Your brain will try to convince you to switch it up, to try something new, to skip today because it feels repetitive. Don't listen. That's weakness. That's the part of you that wants to stay average. That's the part of you that fears the work because it knows it will change you. And change is uncomfortable. But if you're serious about growth, you have to lean into that discomfort. You have to train your mind to see boredom as a sign of progress, not a reason to quit. Repetition doesn't mean you're stuck. It means you're refining. It means you're working the process. Every time you do the work, even when it feels small, you're reinforcing identity. You're becoming. That's the point. The result is just a byproduct. The real win is who you become along the way. So stop chasing variety. Start chasing consistency. Stop looking for new and start getting great at what already works. Build systems. Build routines. Track your progress. Get better at the fundamentals. You don't need something different. You need more depth, more focus, more reps. That's what mastery looks like. And the best part, once you master the mundane, everything else becomes easier. Your discipline sharpens. Your confidence grows. Your results compound. You stop second-guessing yourself because you've put in the work. You stop negotiating with your goals because you've built systems that make decisions for you. You stop waiting to feel ready because you already know you're ready because you've been preparing. That's the power of mastering the mundane. It frees you. It simplifies life. It makes progress predictable. You don't have to wonder if success is coming. You know it is because you're building it brick by brick, day by day, quietly, relentlessly, without needing hype or drama. Just showing up, just doing the work. So if you're bored, good. If it feels repetitive, good. That means you're in the zone where most people quit. Stay there. Double down. Go deeper. Master the basics. Own your routine. Build a boring, brilliant process. That's the road to everything you want. Boring wins. Boring builds empires. Boring creates beasts. Learn to love it. Sacrifice now, shine later. That's the trade. That's the reality most people want to avoid. They want the shine without the sacrifice. They want the reward without the price. They want success to be convenient, easy, quick. But it doesn't work like that. Anything real, anything that lasts, anything that means something requires something. Time, energy, focus, effort, commitment, discipline, and yes, sacrifice. There's no way around it. You will either pay the price now or pay it later with regret. But either way, you pay. The world is full of people who chose comfort over commitment. People who gave up when it got hard, who took the easy way out, who quit too early, and now walk around with 1,000 what-ifs in their head. That's the cost of avoiding sacrifice. You might get temporary relief, but long-term you carry the weight of unrealized potential. That's a heavy burden, heavier than hard work, heavier than the grind, heavier than sacrifice. If you want to win later, you have to be willing to lose some things now. Maybe that means less sleep, less partying, less scrolling, less comfort. Maybe it means saying no to good things so you can say yes to great things later. Maybe it means missing out for a while. That's the truth they don't tell you. You can't have it all, not all at once. You have to choose what matters most and be willing to give up the rest. At least for now. Sacrifice is temporary. Regret isn't. The pain of discipline will never be as deep as the pain of looking back and realizing you could have done more, been more, achieved more, if only you had made different choices. And the wild part is most people know this. Deep down, they know what needs to be done, but they don't want to feel the short-term discomfort. They'd rather postpone the pain, but all that does is stack it higher for later. And by then, it's too late. You don't have to sacrifice forever, but you do have to go all in for a while. You have to give your dream a real chance to breathe. That means putting it first. That means moving different. That means delaying gratification and trusting the process. That means doing the work now, so you don't have to fake the life later. The people who shine later are the ones who made the hard decisions early, the ones who trained when others slept,
The ones who built when no one clapped. The ones who worked in silence until their results made the noise. You will lose people. You will miss events. You will feel alone. That's part of the deal. That's part of the price. The road gets narrow when you decide to level up. Not everyone will understand. Not everyone will support you. Some will criticize. Some will leave. Let them. The ones who matter will catch up. The ones who don't were never meant to come with you. Sacrifice often means isolation, but that solitude becomes your strength. And don't think for a second that sacrifice makes you weaker. It makes you sharper, hungrier, more focused. When you remove the distractions, you find clarity. When you stop chasing short-term pleasure, you find purpose. You stop wasting energy on things that don't move you forward. You stop living for the weekend. You stop pretending you're grinding when really, you're just busy. You start building. You start stacking wins. You start becoming undeniable. Every time you choose the hard thing, every time you choose to sacrifice instead of settle, you're casting a vote for your future self. You're building momentum. You're separating yourself from the average. Because average doesn't sacrifice. Average chooses ease. Average talks big and moves small. But you're done being average. You're chasing something real. And when it gets hard, and it will, you remind yourself why you started. You remind yourself that this season of sacrifice is temporary. That the time, the energy, the discipline you're pouring in now is an investment, and it will pay off. Maybe not tomorrow, maybe not next week, but it will. That's not a guess. That's a guarantee if you keep showing up. You don't have to enjoy the sacrifice. You just have to respect it. Because the more you lean into it, the more it gives back. It builds something in you that no one can take away. Not titles. Not trophies, not validation, but character, fire, drive, the kind of edge that can't be taught, only earned. That's what shines later. Not just the external success, but the internal transformation, the discipline, the self-respect, the resilience. That's the real win. So stop looking for shortcuts. Stop looking for balance in a season that requires obsession. This isn't the time to live soft. This is the time to lock in. The sacrifices you make now are the seeds for the future you say you want. Plant them, water them, protect them. Let everyone else play now. You're working for later. Let everyone else settle. You're building. Let everyone else talk. You're showing up. There will come a day when the same people who questioned you will be the ones asking how you did it. And you'll know, you did it by choosing sacrifice when it was hard. By choosing the future over the moment. By betting on yourself, even when no one else did. Sacrifice now, shine later. That's the blueprint. That's the price. Pay it. Focus is your superpower. In a world designed to distract you, steal your attention, and pull your energy in 100 different directions, the ability to lock in and stay committed to one thing is rare. And anything that's rare is powerful. Most people can't focus. They've trained their minds to jump from screen to screen, app to app, dopamine hit to dopamine hit. They start a task and check their phone 5 minutes in. They open a tab and get lost in 10 more. They're busy but not productive, moving constantly but going nowhere. That's what distraction does. It keeps you active enough to feel like you're doing something, but unfocused enough to never finish anything. But if you can learn to focus, really focus, you'll separate yourself fast. You'll get more done in a week than most people do in a month. You'll start seeing results where others are still stuck in planning mode. You'll build depth while everyone else is stuck on the surface. That's what focus does. It gives your effort weight. It takes your intention and turns it into real progress. It builds momentum, and that momentum compounds. Focus means deciding what matters and cutting everything else. It means protecting your attention like it's gold, because it is. Your attention is the gateway to your life. Whatever you give it to grows. If you give it to negativity, chaos and gossip, that's what your life becomes. But if you give it to discipline, growth, purpose, craft, everything changes.
It starts with clarity. You can't focus if you don't know what you're aiming at. What do you want? Be honest. Be specific. You can't hit a moving target. Pick one thing. Get obsessed. Stop trying to do 10 things at once and wonder why none of them are working. Focus is saying no to the distractions so you can say yes to results. It's not glamorous. Focus means repetition. It means turning down invites, logging off, turning your phone on silent, sitting in silence when it gets boring. It means going deep into your work when everyone else is chasing variety. Focus is discipline in action. It's resisting the urge to chase every shiny new idea. It's understanding that consistency on one path beats random bursts of effort in every direction. If you can't focus, you can't finish. And if you can't finish, you can't win. That's the truth. Focus builds finishers. It's the trait that takes a plan from concept to completion. Most people are addicted to starting. They love the energy of something new, but that fades. And when it fades, they move on to the next idea. That's not power. That's avoidance. Power is choosing to stay, choosing to push through the boring middle, choosing to finish even when it's not fun anymore. Focus is a weapon, and like any weapon, you have to sharpen it. You have to train it. You have to build an environment that supports it. Cut the noise. Turn off the distractions. Get ruthless about your inputs. You can't expect your mind to be sharp if you constantly feed it garbage. You can't expect your energy to be locked in if you let every little notification pull you away. You don't need to work more hours. You need to work with more focus. Deep work. No fluff. No multitasking. Just one thing. Done with full presence. That's where breakthroughs come from. That's how real progress is made. You'll be shocked how much time you get back when you stop dividing your energy between 100 things that don't matter. And focus isn't just about productivity. It's about peace. When you know what you're here to do and you give it your full attention, there's a kind of calm that comes with that. You stop comparing. You stop chasing. You stop feeling overwhelmed. You move with clarity. You act with intention. You live on purpose. Yes, you'll feel FOMO. You'll feel like you're missing out. People will try to pull you in every direction. But remember, every time you say yes to something that doesn't align with your mission, you're saying no to the life you're trying to build. Focus is about guarding your yes. It's about protecting your future from the distractions of now. So decide. Decide what you're building. Decide what actually matters. Then build a life around that. Design your days with intention. Audit your time. Question everything that takes your attention. If it doesn't push you forward, cut it. If it drains your energy, cut it. If it doesn't align with your goals, cut it. Be ruthless about this. Your future depends on it. Focus will test you, it will isolate you, but it will also build you. It will make you sharper, more disciplined, more powerful than you've ever been. Because while everyone else is bouncing between distractions, you'll be stacking wins. Quietly, consistently, relentlessly. You don't need more time. You need more focus. And the second you learn to protect your attention, your life starts to change. Kill procrastination before it kills you. That's not an exaggeration. That's a warning. Because procrastination doesn't just steal your time, it steals your potential. It slowly chips away at who you could have become. It keeps you stuck in the loop of almost starting, almost finishing, almost becoming the person you keep talking about. And that almost becomes your identity. You're always planning, always preparing, always waiting for the right mood, the right energy, the right day. Meanwhile, the clock is ticking. Your dreams are aging. Your chances are slipping. Procrastination is not just laziness. It's fear dressed up as comfort. Fear of failure. Fear of not being good enough. Fear of starting and realizing you're not where you want to be. So you delay. You push it off until tomorrow. Then tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes never. And you lie to yourself the whole time. You say you're thinking about it. You say you're working on it. But deep down you know what's really happening. You're hiding. Every time you delay action, you're training your brain to believe it's okay to avoid responsibility. You're building the habit of avoidance. And habits become identities. Eventually you're not just someone who procrastinates. You're a procrastinator. That label sticks. It defines how you see yourself. And once that identity takes hold, breaking out of it becomes 10 times harder. Because you're not just fighting a behavior, you're fighting a belief. The only way to kill procrastination is with action, not thinking, not planning, not waiting. Action. Start where you are, with what you have, even if it's messy, especially if it's messy. Because momentum doesn't come from clarity, it comes from movement. You won't figure it all out before you begin. You figure it out by beginning. Taking one small step disrupts the pattern. It breaks the cycle. And that small step leads to another, and another. That's how you get out. Stop giving your feelings so much power. You don't need to feel ready to begin. You don't need to feel confident. You don't need to feel inspired. You just need to move. Show your brain that you're in charge, not your mood. Show your goals that you're serious, not just interested. Show your future that it's worth fighting for right now. Not when it's convenient, not when it's easy. Most of what you procrastinate on is less painful than you think. The resistance is always louder than the reality. You imagine it being overwhelming, so you avoid it. But when you actually sit down and do the thing, it's rarely as bad as you made it out to be. And even if it is hard, you're strong enough to handle it. You've just forgotten that because you've let procrastination weaken you. But every time you act despite the resistance, you get stronger. You need to stop treating procrastination like a personality trait and start treating it like a threat. Because that's what it is. It's not just costing you time, it's costing you opportunity, progress, peace. It's costing you confidence. Because nothing kills self-trust like telling yourself you'll do something and then not doing it. You start to doubt your own word. You stop believing in yourself, not because you're not capable, but because you keep breaking promises to yourself. You want to rebuild that trust. Start keeping small promises. Wake up when you say you will. Do the task you've been avoiding. Stick to the schedule you made. It's not about perfection, it's about consistency. Build the muscle of follow-through. Prove to yourself over and over that you're someone who acts, someone who executes, someone who finishes. Create structure, set deadlines, use a calendar. Break your goals down into smaller steps. Make it easier to begin. Don't wait until you feel overwhelmed. Attack the task before it grows into something bigger in your head. And when you feel the urge to delay, pause and ask yourself, what's really stopping me right now? Most of the time, it's not the task, it's a story you're telling yourself about the task. Change the story. Change the outcome. Get around people who move, people who execute, people who treat time like the resource it is. Because if you hang around procrastinators, you'll normalize delay. But if you're around people who act fast, think sharp and take ownership, you'll feel that pressure to level up. That's a good pressure. That's what you need. You don't need more time. You've always had enough time. You just need to stop wasting it. You need to stop living like you'll get endless chances to start over. You won't. One day, time runs out. One day your window closes. One day, I'll do it later, turns into I wish I had. Kill procrastination before it kills your dreams, before it kills your drive, before it kills the version of you that still believes in something bigger. Show up now. Do the hard thing now. Take control now. Because waiting isn't harmless, it's a decision, and every time you wait, you choose comfort over growth, delay over progress, fear over action. So stop waiting, start moving. Now, train your mind like an athlete. Because that's exactly what it is. A muscle, a tool, a weapon. And just like your body, if you don't train your mind, it gets weak, it gets soft, it gets lazy. People spend hours working on their physique, hitting the gym, counting reps, tracking macros, chasing visible progress, but they neglect their most powerful asset, the mind. And without mental strength, physical strength doesn't matter. Without mental clarity, talent fades. Without mental toughness, skill collapses under pressure. Athletes don't just train their bodies, they train their focus, their resilience, their mindset. They know performance isn't just physical, it's mental. You can be in shape and still choke if your mind isn't locked in. The same is true for life. You can have talent, ideas, goals, but if your mind isn't sharp, you'll fold. You'll quit early. You'll doubt yourself. You'll talk yourself out of the work when it gets uncomfortable. That's why your mind needs daily training, not just when life gets tough, but every single day. You train your mind by doing hard things on purpose, by choosing the uncomfortable route instead of the easy one, by setting a standard and keeping it, no matter how you feel. Mental strength isn't about being positive all the time. It's about being unshakable. It's about doing what needs to be done, whether you're in the mood or not. It's about showing up for your commitments, even when motivation disappears. The strongest minds are built through adversity, not just surviving it, but using it, learning from it, pushing through it instead of running from it. Every setback is a chance to build mental armor. Every difficult moment is an opportunity to condition your thinking. Are you going to let life break you down or build you up? Are you going to retreat into excuses or rise into discipline? That's the difference. That's the mental edge. Mental training is repetition. It's habits. It's the conversations you have with yourself. Are you your own coach or your own critic? Do you build yourself up or tear yourself down every time you fall short? You've got to be on your own team. You've got to become the voice in your head that says, keep going when everything else is telling you to stop. No one else is going to do that for you. That's your job. Athletes visualize. They prepare mentally. They see themselves winning long before it happens. You've got to do the same. You have to start thinking like a winner before you feel like one. You have to feed your mind with clarity and purpose. Stop flooding it with doubt and noise. Protect your focus. Protect your peace. Read. Reflect. Meditate. Rate. Cut the mental junk food. Gossip.
negativity, distractions. Your inputs shape your mindset. What you consume becomes what you think. What you think becomes how you act. Your mind needs structure, discipline, boundaries. Create routines that serve your vision. Don't leave your mindset up to chance. Just like you don't expect your body to get stronger without training, don't expect your mindset to elevate without intentional effort. Do the reps. Wake up early. Practice gratitude. Affirm your goals. Work in silence. Push past resistance. That's mental weightlifting. And just like in the gym, you don't see results overnight. But over time you get stronger. You stop breaking down under pressure. You start making decisions with clarity instead of fear. You stop reacting emotionally to everything that goes wrong. You become calm, focused, intentional. People will notice it. They'll say you've changed. And they're right. You've built mental muscle. And it shows. Strong minds don't fold when it's hard. They lock in. They lean in. They take pain and turn it into power. And that's what you need if you're going to build something great. Not just the work ethic, but the mental toughness to keep showing up when it's boring, when it's quiet, when nothing is happening yet. To hold your vision when the world doesn't see it. To keep betting on yourself when no one else is clapping. You won't be perfect. Some days your mind will slip. You'll get distracted, discouraged, frustrated. That's normal. But the difference between winners and everyone else is that winners reset fast. They catch themselves. They don't let one bad moment ruin the day. They adjust and get back to the mission. That's mental strength, not perfection, resilience. So if you want to win, stop hoping your mind will just magically sharpen with time. Start training it. Daily, intentionally, with reps, with pressure, with discipline. Build your focus. Build your habits. Build your inner voice into your biggest weapon, not your biggest obstacle. Your body will get tired. Your emotions will fluctuate. But if your mind is strong, you'll keep going. And if you keep going, you win. Always train your mind like an athlete. Because life is a sport, and you're here to dominate. Burnout versus weakness. Know the difference. Because not everything that feels hard means you're burning out. And not everything that feels heavy means you should stop. We live in a culture that blurs the line between discomfort and danger, between fatigue and failure. And if you don't learn to tell the difference, you'll start quitting every time something stretches you. You'll confuse growth pain with damage. And you'll back off every time you were supposed to push through. Burnout is real. It happens when you ignore your limits for too long. When you run on empty for weeks, months or years without recovery. It's when your body, your mind and your emotions finally crash because you've been sprinting through life without strategy. You stop caring. You feel numb. Everything feels like too much. Even things that used to excite you now just drain you. That's burnout. And when it hits, it's not something to ignore. You rest, you reset, you rebuild. But weakness is different. Weakness is when you can go on but you choose not to. When you're not burned out, you're just bored, uncomfortable or undisciplined. You don't need rest. You need to grow up. You need to get tougher. You need to stop calling it burnout every time the process gets inconvenient. Because calling weakness burnout gives it permission. It makes giving up sound responsible. It gives you an excuse that sounds mature, but it's not. It's just avoidance with better branding. And here's where it gets tricky. Your mind will lie to you, especially when things get tough. It will whisper, "You're tired. Take a break." It will say, "You're pushing too hard," when you've barely started pushing at all. It will convince you that discipline is abuse, that structure is pressure, that saying no is selfish. It will tell you you're burning out when all you're really doing is brushing up against resistance. So how do you tell the difference? Check your patterns. Are you constantly running from hard things? Are you avoiding the same tasks over and over? Are you calling it burnout every time you lose interest? Or are you actually showing up consistently, giving 100%, working smart and still crashing? One is weakness, the other is real. Learn to know which one you're dealing with. You don't beat burnout by pretending you're invincible. You beat it by managing your energy, by building systems, by knowing when to push and when to pause. But most people aren't burning out from doing too much. They're burning out from doing too little that matters. They spend their days in distraction, in jobs they hate, in relationships that drain them, in routines that have no real purpose. That's not overworking, that's misalignment. And misalignment feels like burnout, even when your schedule is light. The truth is you get stronger by doing hard things. Your capacity grows. Your endurance builds. You start to thrive under pressure, not crumble, but only if you stop mistaking every challenge for a crisis. Only if you stop labeling every moment of stress as toxic. Stress isn't the enemy, chronic unmanaged stress is, but the right amount of pressure. That's what forges you. That's what separates the average from the elite. You want a life that feels good. Build a body and mind that can handle discomfort. Stop looking for balance in every season. Some chapters require obsession. Some moments demand a little sacrifice, a little stretch. Not forever, not to the point of collapse, but enough to grow, enough to level up, enough to break through the old version of you. And when you are burned out, admit it. Own it. Pull back. Rebuild. There's no glory in grinding yourself into the ground just to prove you're tough. True strength is knowing when to step back so you can step up stronger. But don't confuse that with quitting when you're just uncomfortable. Don't confuse that with bailing every time things stop being fun. This is about self-awareness, about honesty, about discipline. Knowing when to rest is just as important as knowing when to push. But don't use rest as an escape. Use it as fuel, as recovery, as strategy, because the goal is not to avoid pressure. The goal is to build the strength to handle it better. So ask yourself, am I burned out or am I just avoiding the hard part? Am I protecting my energy or am I protecting my ego? Am I being kind to myself or just letting myself off the hook? These questions matter because the way you answer them determines how far you'll go. The grind will test you. It will drain you sometimes, but it will also build you in ways comfort never could. You just have to know when to keep going and when to pause. Not because you're weak, but because you're smart. Not every rest is a setback, and not every struggle is a reason to stop. Burnout is a signal. Weakness is a choice. Learn the difference. Live with discipline. Move with intention. And never let your excuses wear the mask of self-care. Work in silence, win loudly. That's the mindset. That's the strategy. You don't need to announce every move. You don't need to post every goal, every rep, every small step forward. You don't need to prove to the world that you're working. You need to prove it to yourself, because the loudest person in the room is usually the one doing the least. Real winners don't have time to talk. They're too busy building. Social media has tricked people into thinking that visibility equals progress, that if no one sees your grind it doesn't count. But that's a lie. Some of your most powerful moments will happen when no one is watching. No likes, no applause, no validation, just you, the work and the silence. That's where transformation happens. Not in front of a crowd, but in the quiet, in the consistency, In the moments you choose discipline without a single witness, working in silence is not about hiding. It's about focus. It's about cutting the noise, removing the distractions and locking in. It's about doing it for the outcome, not the attention. When you stop needing praise, you become dangerous, because then the work becomes pure. You're not
doing it for clout, you're doing it because it's who you are, because it's what you do, because your standard demands it. You don't have to explain yourself, you don't have to convince anyone. Let people underestimate you, let them sleep on you, let them think you've slowed down or backed off. Let them talk while you move in silence, and then when the results hit, they'll speak louder than you ever could. That's how you win. Quietly at first, then all at once. Working in silence also protects your energy. It keeps you grounded. When you start chasing recognition too early, you invite pressure that doesn't belong. You start performing instead of producing. You start creating for applause instead of impact. And slowly, your focus shifts from what matters to what gets attention. Don't fall into that trap. Keep your head down. Stay in the lab. Stay obsessed with the craft, not the clout. You're not in this to impress. You're in this to evolve, to grow, to become the person you know you can be. That journey is internal. It's spiritual. It's personal. Most of it won't be pretty. Most of it won't be postable. There will be days you're in the dark, grinding through self-doubt, pain, setbacks, fear. But those days count the most. They're the ones that build character, that sharpen your edge, that separate you from the people who gave up. And when the time is right, when the work is done, let your results speak, loudly, without apology. Let your actions echo through the very rooms where you were once dismissed. Let your success walk into the room before you do. That's the only kind of noise you need to make. Not empty words, not premature flexing, just real, undeniable results. Let your silence be confidence. Let your discipline be the message. Let your consistency be the proof. And understand this, the most dangerous person in any room is the one who doesn't need to be seen, but can't be ignored. That's who you become when you stop talking and start executing. So stop explaining yourself. Stop waiting for permission. Stop trying to prove anything to anyone who hasn't earned a say. Build in silence. Heal in silence. Grind in silence. And when it's time to speak, speak through the life you've built. Work in silence. Win loudly. Every time. There's no shortcut, only the long way that works. Everyone's looking for the fast track, the cheat code, the secret formula. But the truth is, there isn't one. Success is earned, not hacked. And the sooner you accept that, the faster you'll get where you're going. Because while everyone else is wasting time trying to skip the hard part, you'll be in it, doing the work, stacking real progress that lasts. Shortcuts look tempting. They promise results without the grind. They offer comfort wrapped in quick fixes. But what they don't tell you is that shortcuts rob you of what actually builds you. The long way teaches discipline. It teaches patience. It teaches resilience. It forces you to develop real skills, real character, real endurance. And that's what you need to win. Not just once, but over and over. The long way shows you who you are. It reveals your weaknesses. It tests your commitment. It exposes whether you really want it, or just like the idea of it. It's not glamorous. It's not sexy. It's not something you can post about every day. But it's the only thing that works. Day after day, brick by brick, step by step. That's how you build something that lasts. People who chase shortcuts never really learn how to handle success. Even if they get there fast, they don't stay long. Why? Because they never built the foundation. They never earned the confidence. They never developed the toughness. So when pressure hits, they crumble. When things stop being easy, they bail. That's what happens when you skip the reps. But the long way, that's where the real ones are made. That's where you learn to stay focused when no one's clapping. That's where you learn to keep going when results are slow. That's where you become relentless, not just because you want to win, but because you've become the kind of person who doesn't quit. And here's the truth, no one wants to hear. The long way is actually faster, because shortcuts come with setbacks. They lead to burnout, to inconsistency, to starting over, again and again. But when you take the long way, your progress compounds, your habits stick, your mindset shifts, and suddenly what used to feel hard becomes your new standard. The long way requires faith. Faith that your efforts matter, even when there's no proof yet. Faith that if you keep showing up, it will pay off. And it will. But only if you're patient enough to let it. Only if you're disciplined enough to keep going. Only if you stop looking for the easy way and start owning the real way. You have to stop expecting overnight results for work you haven't been willing to put in daily. Stop thinking success owes you anything just because you've started. You want it. Earn it. Want to be great. Do what great people do, over and over and over. That's the long way. The right way. The only way. So stop asking how fast you can get there, and start asking how long you can stay consistent. Stop chasing the highlight reel, and start mastering the fundamentals. Focus, work, repeat. That's the process. That's the formula. That's the truth. And once you commit to it, really commit, you'll realize that the long way isn't a punishment. It's a blessing. Because when you finally get there, you'll know you earned every inch. You'll carry that pride, that confidence, that unshakable belief in yourself. Because you didn't skip the hard parts. You didn't fake it. You did the work, and no one can take that away from you. There's no shortcut, just the long way that works. Take it. Trust it. Own it. Stay hungry. Stay humble. That's the formula. That's how you grow and keep growing. Because the second you think you've made it, the second you start acting like you're too good to learn, to grind, to improve, you lose. Hunger is what keeps you moving forward. Humility is what keeps you grounded. You need both. One without the other is a setup for failure. Stay hungry. Stay obsessed. Stay focused like you're still at the bottom, even when you start climbing. Because hunger is fuel. It's the reason you show up early, stay late, go harder, and never get comfortable. Comfort is the enemy of progress. The moment you start thinking, I'm good, is the moment you stop doing what got you here. You ease up. You slow down. You start living off old wins, and eventually those wins fade. You don't get better by maintaining. You get better by pushing. But hunger without humility is dangerous. That's ego. That's thinking you know everything. That's thinking you're above correction, above learning, above discipline. And that mindset will ruin you. Because no matter how good you get, there's always another level. Always someone outworking you. Always something you haven't mastered. If you're not humble enough to admit that, you'll plateau. Or worse, you'll crash. Humility keeps your head down. It reminds you that you're a student. Always. It keeps you open to feedback, to learning, to adjusting. It stops you from getting soft off a few wins. It reminds you that nobody owes you anything, that you're only as good as your last rep, your last project, your last effort. Humility doesn't mean weakness. It doesn't mean playing small. It means knowing your worth but not needing to broadcast it. It means letting your work speak instead of your mouth. You've got to check yourself constantly. Ask yourself, am I still hungry?
Am I still chasing like I was when I had nothing? And am I still humble? Am I still coachable? Am I still locked in? Because this journey isn't just about getting there. It's about staying there. And the only way to stay is to keep growing. Keep showing up like you're not entitled to anything. Like you've still got everything to prove. Success can blind you if you let it. A few wins can trick you into thinking the work is done, that the discipline can be loosened, that you can chill now. Don't fall for it. The people who win and keep winning, they never let the hunger die. They never let the ego grow. They remember what it took to get there, and they double down. They don't get lazy. They get sharper. You've seen it. People blow up, get a little status, get comfortable, start believing their own hype. Then it all falls apart. Not because they weren't talented, not because they weren't capable, but because they stopped being hungry. They stopped being humble. They thought they were untouchable. They forgot the grind that got them there. So don't forget. Don't ever forget where you started. Don't forget the work it took to even be in the conversation. That's your edge. That chip on your shoulder. That fire. Keep it. Protect it. Even when you win, act like you're still climbing. Celebrate. Sure. But don't stay there. Get back to the work. Get back to the mindset that made you dangerous in the first place. Stay hungry for growth, for knowledge, for improvement. Stay hungry to keep leveling up, and stay humble enough to know that you don't have all the answers, that you can still be better, that the moment you think you've arrived is the moment you start falling behind. Hunger gives you the drive. Humility keeps you sharp. Hunger keeps you moving. Humility keeps you learning. Hunger says, what's next? Humility says, I still have more to learn. Together they're unstoppable. One keeps you climbing. The other makes sure you don't fall off. So wherever you are, just getting started or already seeing progress, remember this: you're not done. You're not above the grind. You're not finished learning. There's still more. More levels. More lessons. More to give. Stay hungry. Stay humble. Keep building. The hustle is lonely. Embrace it. Not everyone's going to understand your grind. Not everyone's going to clap when you level up. Most won't even notice you're in the process of becoming something better, something different, something more. That's the reality. The hustle doesn't come with a crowd. It comes with silence, with isolation, with long nights, early mornings, missed calls, skipped events, unanswered texts. And that's okay. That's the price. That's the path. When you decide to break out of average, when you commit to rising above the noise, the first thing you lose is company. People start falling off. Some fade naturally. Others leave because your growth makes them uncomfortable. Either way, it gets quiet. And in that quiet, most people panic. They start doubting themselves. They start thinking they need the energy of others to stay motivated. But if you can't move without applause, you're not ready for greatness. If you can't build without being seen, you'll never last at the top. The hustle isn't about being liked. It's not about being visible. It's about being locked in. So when it gets lonely, don't flinch. Don't start shrinking yourself just to feel accepted again. Don't downplay your vision just so people stay comfortable around you. Let them go. Let the noise fade. That space you're feeling, that silence, that's focus, that's clarity. That's where real work happens. It's supposed to be lonely. Growth separates. Elevation requires space. If you're doing it right, you're going to outgrow conversations, environments, habits, and yes, people. That's not arrogance. That's alignment. And it's nothing to be ashamed of. Stop trying to carry everyone with you. Some people are only meant to know the old version of you. The version that coasted, that settled, that played small, but that's not who you are anymore. And that's going to cost you people. Don't apologize for it. This journey isn't built for comfort. It's built for clarity. And sometimes clarity only comes when everything else gets stripped away. When it's just you, the grind, and the silence between who you are and who you're becoming. That silence will test you. It will try to convince you that you're doing something wrong, that you're alone because you're not good enough. But that's a lie. You're alone because you're doing what most people won't. The hustle is lonely, but it builds something in you that crowds never will. It teaches you to depend on yourself, to hype yourself up, to push yourself when no one is watching. It teaches you that your vision is valid, even when no one else sees it. And that self-trust, that inner fire, that's priceless. Because once you learn to move without external energy, you become unstoppable. Most people crave connection more than they crave growth. They'd rather be liked than be great. They'd rather stay where it's comfortable and familiar than take the risk of evolving into someone who no longer fits the mold. But not you, not anymore. You've got bigger plans, bigger goals. You don't need the crowd. You don't need the noise. You just need the mission. Use the loneliness. Let it sharpen you. Let it strip away the distractions. Let it teach you how to lead yourself. Because when you come out on the other side, when the work starts to pay off, when the results become undeniable, when people finally start to notice, you'll know it wasn't luck. It was discipline. It was focus. It was quiet hours and uncomfortable choices and tunnel vision when everyone else was drifting. Don't fear the lonely road. That's the one that leads somewhere worth going. The path with the least traffic always leads to the highest places. Just because you're walking alone doesn't mean you're lost. It means you're on a level most people aren't willing to reach. So keep going, keep showing up, keep building in the silence. Let the world wonder what you're doing. Let them talk. Let them assume. Then let your results answer everything. The hustle is lonely. Embrace it. Own it. Grow in it. Because one day the same people who don't understand your grind now will be the ones asking how you did it. And you'll smile, knowing the answer was simple. I kept going when no one else would. Results don't lie. They don't care about your intentions. They don't care about your effort if it wasn't consistent. They don't care how hard your circumstances were. Results are honest, brutally honest. They reflect exactly what you did or didn't do. That's why they matter. Because they don't bend to emotions. They don't get swayed by excuses. And they don't respond to talk. Results are the scoreboard. They're the truth you can't escape. You can tell yourself you're grinding. You can tell others you're trying. You can explain why it's taking so long. But at the end of the day, all that matters is what you've built, what you've created, what you've produced. That's the difference between the people who live in their head and the people who live in reality. The ones who move forward measure by what's real, not by what's promised, planned, or hoped for. Results are what separate the dreamers from the doers. Everyone says they want it. But most people stop when the work gets repetitive, when the praise stops coming, when progress slows down. They confuse motion with momentum. They confuse busy with productive. But results don't. Results expose all of that. They strip away the fluff and show what's really there. And sometimes that's hard to face, because it means owning the fact that you've been inconsistent, that you've been talking more than you've been acting, that your habits haven't matched your goals. But that truth is powerful, if you're willing to accept it. Because once you stop lying to yourself, once you stop pretending that effort alone is enough, you start focusing on what actually works. You start demanding more from yourself. You stop hiding behind "I'm trying," and start showing results that prove you are. The beautiful part. Results are also proof of what's possible. When you start to see progress, no matter how small, you realize that it's all in your control. You realize that the actions you take today shape your life tomorrow, that your habits are literally building your future. You start trusting the process, not because it feels good, but because you're seeing the outcome. That builds belief, that builds confidence, that builds momentum that no one can give you or take away. Results come from consistency, not bursts of motivation, not occasional effort. Consistency, daily reps, daily discipline, daily decisions that align with what you say you want. The grind isn't about being perfect, it's about being persistent, about showing up when it's boring, about doing the small things right, over and over, until they stack up into something big. It's easy to get discouraged when the results aren't there yet, but the lack of results doesn't mean you're failing. It means you still have work to do. That's not a reason to stop. That's a reason to lock in harder, to refine your approach, to get sharper, more focused, more honest. If you don't like your current results, change your inputs, adjust your habits, look at your time, your effort, your priorities. Results don't lie, and they don't cheat. They're always fair. They give back what you put in. You have to hold yourself to that standard. Stop hoping, start measuring. What did you do today that moved the needle? What can you point to, right now, that shows you're progressing? If the answer is nothing, then own that. Don't feel bad. Feel fired up, because now you know, and now you can fix it. This isn't about pressure, it's about power. The power to build something real. The power to look at your life and say, this is on me. Because if it's on you, that means you're in control. You can change it. You can shape it. You can turn it around, no matter where you're starting from. But only if you stop settling for effort with no outcome. Only if you stop talking about potential and start showing proof. Let your results speak. Let them walk into the room before you do. Let them shut down the doubt, the critics, the comparison, the noise. You don't have to convince anyone when you've built something undeniable. You don't have to argue when your life reflects your discipline. You don't have to shout when your work already tells the story. So track your progress. Be honest with yourself. Are you moving, or are you just busy? Are you producing results, or just repeating the same habits and hoping for different outcomes? Don't fear that question. Answer it, adjust, and execute. Because talk is cheap, vibes are temporary, but results don't lie. Turn setbacks into fuel. That's the move. That's how you win. When everything seems stacked against you, life will knock you down. Count on it. You'll get rejected. You'll get overlooked. You'll fail. You'll lose people. Plans will fall apart. Timing will mess you up. But none of that means it's over. None of that means you're finished. It only means the world is asking you a simple question: how bad do you want it? Most people fold when things don't go as planned. They take the L and turn it into a full-on identity crisis. They get stuck in the setback. They replay it, overthink it, let it drain their confidence, let it define them, but not you, not anymore. You don't let setbacks stop you, you let them sharpen you. You use them, you flip the pain into power. You take the loss and turn it into leverage. Setbacks are part of the process. You don't become strong by winning all the time. You become strong by getting hit and getting back up. By realizing that failure isn't final, it's feedback, it's data, it's information that shows you what didn't work so you can come back smarter, better, sharper. The setback isn't the end, it's the adjustment point. And the sooner you see it that way, the faster you bounce back. You have to change the way you respond to adversity. Stop acting surprised when things go wrong. Start expecting resistance. Start understanding that challenges are where the growth happens. Smooth roads don't build strong drivers. Hard times don't break you, they reveal you. And every time you bounce back, you build something deeper than momentum. You build character. You build grit. You build the kind of mindset that nothing can shake. Some of your biggest breakthroughs will come right after your hardest hits. But only if you keep moving. Only if you don't sit in self-pity. Only if you stop replaying the failure and start rewriting the response. Use that setback as a reason to go harder. Let it add fuel to your fire. Let it push you to evolve, to upgrade, to lock in even deeper than before. The setback is your advantage if you let it be. Most people stop at the first sign of pain. They let the obstacle win. But if you lean into it, if you rise through it, you separate yourself. Because resilience is rare. Most don't have it. Most don't train it. Most don't want to feel the sting of loss and still keep showing up. But that's where you rise. That's where you earn it. Ask yourself, what can this teach me? How can I grow from this? What do I need to change, fix, improve, or face? Use the moment. Don't waste the pain. Let it refine you. Let it humble you. Let it light a fire under you that no one can put out. You don't get stronger avoiding adversity. You get stronger working through it. And let's be real, some setbacks will hurt deep. Some will shake your confidence, your plans, your sense of identity. But you still have a choice. You can stay there, or you can build from there. You can keep replaying the story, or you can start writing the comeback. You don't need everything to go right. You just need to keep going when it goes wrong. When people doubt you, when life doesn't cooperate, when the timing isn't ideal, use it. Use the frustration, use the doubt, use the rejection. Let it drive you, not define you. Let it push you, not paralyze you. Turn the why me into watch me. That's how you flip the script. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're being built. Setbacks are the gym where mental strength is trained. That's where the reps are done. That's where the pressure forges focus, and the pain creates power. You're not losing, you're learning. And if you don't quit, you don't fail. So when the next setback hits, and it will, don't panic, don't spiral. Take a breath, stand back up, ask better questions, move with more intent. The world tried to slow you down. Let it be the reason you speed up. Let it be the reason you go even harder. Turn every setback into proof that you don't fold under pressure. You rise through it. You get better because of it. That's the difference. That's the mindset. That's the edge. Let everyone else break. You build. You take the hit and use it as fuel. You've made it this far. And if you're still reading, that means something clicked. Something inside you is done with playing small, done with excuses, done with delay. Maybe you've been coasting, maybe you've been lost, maybe you've been doubting yourself, but not anymore, not after this. Because now you know what it takes. You've seen the truth, the hard truth, that nobody is coming to save you, that comfort is a trap, that the work is the way. This book wasn't written to hype you up for a day. It was built to rewire your mindset, to remind you that you have power, real, raw, untapped power, and it's been sitting there the whole time, waiting on one thing: action. Not inspiration, not validation, action. You've read the words, but now comes the test. What are you going to do with it? Are you going to go back to scrolling, coasting, talking about it? Or are you going to lock in and live it? Because all of this means nothing if it doesn't lead to execution. Change doesn't come from reading. It comes from deciding. Get up, work harder, every day, no matter who's watching, no matter how you feel, no matter what's stacked against you. Be the kind of person who doesn't fold, who doesn't quit, who doesn't need praise to stay disciplined. Be the kind of person who wakes up with purpose and goes to sleep with pride. This isn't about hype, it's about habits. It's about identity. It's about becoming someone that even your past self wouldn't recognize. Someone focused, someone relentless, someone built different. That version of you isn't waiting at the finish line. That version is built on the way there. So don't slow down now. Don't second guess it. Don't let the fire fade. You've got the blueprint. You've got the mindset. Now it's time to move. Not tomorrow, not someday. Now, this is your life. Your shot. Your climb. No more waiting. No more talking. Get up, work harder, and don't stop.